Hello everyone, welcome back to the Super Mega Uberhood. I'm Darkest Dawn, and today we are building Grimm's Haunted Mansion, the home of the Grim Reaper, his partner, Olive Specter, their son, Nervous Subject, and their skeletal maid, Bonehilda. This is part 1, where we will focus on the exterior, and part 2 will focus on the interior decoration. So let's get into the speed build. Grimm's Haunted Mansion is located in the spooky vampire quarter in Downtown SimCity, next door to the House of Fallen Trees and the Trico Academy. The Grim Reaper, of course, is an NPC that takes a deceased Sim into the netherworld, but in the Sims lore of Strangetown, Grimm actually plays a huge part. Apparently, Olive Specter, everyone's favorite serial killer, woohooed Grimm, and together they had a son, Nervous Subject. You can't actually do this in normal gameplay, but the receipts are all in their memories. You cannot add the actual Grim Reaper to your hood because it will corrupt it and make it go kablooey. So my Grim is a regular Sim made in CAS and dressed up as the Grim Reaper. My version of the Reaper Spectre household is a bit different than normal, so I wanted to give you the backstory real quick. And just a note that Olive's story is a bit dark, even before I put my take on it, so here is your warning. Olive Specter was born Olive Wenda and became a witch when she reached her teens. She attended Llama Spit School of Witchcraft, located in Belladonna Cove, and run by the Crumplebottoms, and was sorted into Goth House. That's the evil alignment magic house. More on that when I get to Belladonna Cove. As a teen, Olive had something to do with the death of pizza delivery woman Danielle Greaves, who died of starvation. Maybe it's because she didn't deliver in under an hour like she said she would. Anyways, Olive meets the Grim Reaper for the first time when he comes to reap the soul of the pizza lady. She ages into an adult and gets a job in the slacker career, presumably where she meets her next victim, a lovely boy by the name of Earl E. Demise. She falls in love with and becomes engaged to Earl, who subsequently leaves her at the altar, presumably because he finds out she's an evil witch. Furious, Olive murders Earl and gets away with it by making it look like he was accidentally electrocuted. Grimm shows up to do his job, and he remembers Olive from before. Sometime later, Tim Lee Demise, Earl's brother, confronts Olive about the death of his brother and accuses her of his murder. Olive, sensing her cover is blown, murders Tim and also makes it look like an accidental electrocution. Then Olive goes on a small killing spree. She murders the handyman Seth Zadie by starving him to death and murders some dude named Patrick Jones, again by electrocution. Each time, she gets to see her bestie, Grim Reaper, and can further their relationship on for the brief moment of time he's there to reap the souls. After her sister Willow gets married and moves away, Olive takes her rage out on a poor teen named Melissa Sims. She was probably just trying to sell Girl Scout cookies or something. Nevertheless, Melissa starves to death. Now, I'm pointing out the way these Sims died for a reason, which you'll see in the next video where I show the interiors, because Olive has a torture dungeon with cells that she can, put the poor Sims in to starve to death. Next, her parents Laredo and Paponi die in a fire. I don't think Olive had anything to do with this. She loved her parents and she was very sad to see them die. Olive receives a few promotions and has enough money to hire a maid, Jessica Ibadi. Unfortunately, Jessica went down a secret path that she shouldn't have and discovered Olive's torture chamber. Olive quickly locked her in a cell where she died of starvation. Olive begins a relationship with Rigor Mortis. These names. A rich elder, and it starts to get serious. But she can't get Grimm out of her mind, so she does what any sane girl would do. She starves the exterminator to death so she can see Grimm. When Grimm shows up, they have a long talk, and she confesses her love for him. She says the only reason she kills so many Sims is so she could spend time with him. She tells Grimm that she wants to go to the netherworld with him and live out their lives together. He tells her no, that can't happen. He wants her to live her life, get married, have babies. He doesn't want her to wait around for an old bag of bones like him. Upset, Olive marries Rigor, but only for his money. Soon after the wedding, Rigor dies, in a fire. And Olive receives a large amount of simoleons from his life insurance. Now, at this point in the normal game, Olive would have aged into an elder. But because in my game, my witches do not age at the same speed as non-magical Sims, Olive is still an adult. Olive's next victim is the mother of Melissa Sims, Vicky Sims, who has been looking for her missing daughter. She knows Melissa's last whereabouts was Olive Mortis's home, and she wants answers. Instead of answers, Vicky starves to death in the same cell that Olive once held Melissa in. The next Sim to die would normally be Lila Grunt, but she's alive in my hood. Shh, don't tell anybody. Olive once again marries, this time to Hugh Thanasia. She quickly kills him and his brother Lou in a fire. The double homicide brings forth her man, Grim, and she tells him that she cannot bear to be without him any longer. Grim finally confesses that he loves her too, and they have one magical night together. Mind you, this is the only time Olive has woohooed anyone in her whole life. She begs Grim to stay with her, but of course he can't, and he leaves. Olive is heartbroken and alone. After some time, Olive finds out that she's pregnant. After her first baby bump, she kills delivery man Canute Futa, and apparently she tortured him so badly that he thinks he's a baby. So she kills him so Grim will show up and to give him the good news. After the second baby bump, she drowns a teen by the name of Luke Smith so Grim can see how far along she is. Grim is astonished. Like, how could he possibly have a baby? He figures it must be some witchcraft that he doesn't know anything about. But nonetheless, he's ecstatic to know that he will be a father. Soon afterwards, Olive gives birth to a son that she names Nervous. During her pregnancy, she had her next victim lined up, Olive Specter, so that when the baby was born, Grim could see his boy, right? However, tragedy befell Olive. Olive was so caught up with murder planning that she neglected her son, and he was taken away by the social worker. He didn't even get a chance to age up to a toddler. Olive went on with her plan to marry Ichabod, but before she could kill him, he died of natural causes. When Grim showed up, he was excited to meet his child and wondered where he was. Olive tearfully had to tell Grim that Nervous was taken away. Grim vowed then and there that when he was able to retire, he would get Nervous back and they would all live together as one happy family. Now, Nervous's life plays out just like it does in the original game. He stayed in foster care for some time until Circe and Loki Beaker got a hold of him when he was a child. The couple did horrendous experiments on Nervous until he was an adult. They even made fun of his name and gave him the surname of Subject, so he would always be Nervous Subject. Once Grim was able to retire, he built his mansion overlooking his favorite cemetery, Gothier Green Lawns. He moved Olive in, took his son back from the Beakers after threatening their lives, and now they live happily ever after. Once they moved in, Olive complained she needed a housekeeper. Grim worked his magic and resurrected the maid Jessica Ibati to do the work around the house. However, he didn't put her soul back in her. Instead, she's just an animated bag of bones working like a servo. Olive calls her Bonehilda, just to be mean. So there you go. See, it's really a love story, not an evil serial killer story like, everyone wants you to believe. She killed for love. And if you're wondering where Ophelia, Olive's niece, is, she's living in the magical hood, Belladonna Cove, with her parents, Creon and Willow Nigmos. And Willow is also a witch. And again, you're not supposed to resurrect Creon and Willow if you have the vanilla version of the game. But since I'm using the clean templates, it's okay to resurrect them because the faces have been fixed by Meet Me to the River. So yeah, okay, that was a long story. So let's try to talk about the build. This house is modeled after the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. And I use this as a reference because it has the New Orleans look that I want for the Vampire Quarter, and because it's haunted. I ended up changing the colors from the Disneyland version, which is white and green, because honestly, it's just too bright and light and happy. and I wanted this to be, you know, spooky and moody and dark. And you'll see as I go along here that the outside of the house changes colors a few times. I eventually settled for a charcoal gray and white kind of a look. I used Shasta's matching walls for the spooky set, but they weren't dark enough, so I recolored them to a dark charcoal, and they're really crappy recolors that I did. I did them really fast, but they look okay enough for for this build. The house is 3 stories tall and has a huge above ground basement. And I made the basement this way instead of below ground because I wanted the house to look imposing, like sitting up high. I used the spooky set and Shasta's add-ons for the spooky set, again for the windows and doors, and Crisps and Kerosene's iron fences, again for the verandas. Instead of building a house from scratch, I was originally going to use Alex BGD's remake of Grimm's Ghastly Manor from The Sims 3, which is amazing. But I decided to build this one instead because it looks more New Orleans-ish. But I do add some of the elements from Alex's version, and I'll put a link below so you can download Alex's version. I do use some of the stuff from Alex's version, like putting the Grimm statues on top of the stairs and stuff. I thought that looked really cool. And to add to the spooky factor, I placed gargoyles on the roof and weeds and other dead plants growing wild on the lawn. The tree-lined sidewalk has leafless trees instead of the blooming magnolia trees that line the street of the other houses of the Vampire Quarter. So basically I wanted this house to look like the dead live here. My favorite part of this whole build is the graveyard. Olive brought all of her trophies, I mean graves, to the new house. And the graves are what makes the house, you know, truly haunted. What I have learned is that the best way to move the graves is to have a sim put the graves into their inventory, take them to a cemetery or a community lot, and then remove them from their inventory. Move the sim out of the lot, then move the sim into a new lot, and then have them go and pick up the graves at the cemetery lot and bring them back to the new lot. You may be able to just put them in inventory, move a sim out, move a sim in, and then place the graves without having to go to a community cemetery lot. But I don't know. I just did it this way because I just wanted to make sure that the ghosts would still have the correct color and the ghosts would still be able to come out. And if you see in the beginning of the video, Benjamin Cho, who I think was the exterminator, and Luke Smith are haunting the lot at the beginning of the video. And you can see that Luke's ghost is blue and Benjamin's ghost is white, even though it's kind of hard to see because it's dark. But they still retain their color by me moving the graves this way. Also in the graveyard is an open grave with a dead nanny. And I was thinking, I don't know, maybe she's the reason Nervous was taken away from Olive all those years ago. Like she neglected Nervous and they blamed Olive for it. And Olive is finally getting her revenge. She's the latest person on the serial killer hit list. Olive still has her throne, her chair that she has amongst all the graves. So she can sit down and overlook her garden like she did in the Strange Town house. I also put lots of knickknacks on the graves, like someone was mourning these Sims and they left gifts, flowers, stuffed animals and stuff. And if you're wondering where the actual gravestones are, since they look like they're replaced by the decorative ones, which the decorative ones are, I think most of them are the vampire converted ones from Shastakis. What I did was I have a default replacement for the gravestones that make them very, very small. And I think Huge Lunatic makes them. I'll put a link down below. And what I did was I took the default replacements out when I needed to place the graves so I can see them and know where to place them. And then I put, the decorative graves over them, or the decorative tombstone, over them with move objects on. Then I quit the game, I put the default replacements back in, and when I restart the game, the real graves are like pretty much invisible. So all you can see are the decorative gravestones. And again, like I always do, I'll leave links to where you can find all the CC I'm talking about during the video in the description below. The next lot after this I'm planning on doing is the Gothier Green Lawn Cemetery. So I'll be done moving graves and having to take the default out and put them back in and stuff. And of course, you don't have to take the default replacements out and put them back, but they're so tiny. So when you have like 50 or so of them spread in the cemetery like I currently do, it's hard to find them because the game just generates them anywhere after you bring a sim to the lot to drop them off. So right now I have every single gravestone from the whole game is in Gothier Green Lawns, except for the ones that Olive originally had at her home, and except for the sims that I resurrected. So their graves no longer exist. But, when I get to the Gothier Green Lawns makeover, there's going to be a lot of graves and maybe urns, because I'll probably do like crypts and things like that. And you may see a certain lady poltergeist around the grounds. She appears sometimes in the well and in certain areas inside the home. To me, she's the original owner of the mansion, and she's not happy with the new tenants and all of the new ghosts on her property. I found her at TSR. She's by Cyclone Sue. And I made the well look like things are being thrown from inside of it out onto the lawn. And there's some puddles around it. So like when the lady of the well comes out and haunts the area. And also around the well, I put like a ring of mushrooms around it because in Olive's bio, it says she likes mushrooms. Her bio also says she likes pointy sticks. Or sharpening her pointy sticks or something like that. And those are actually inside the house in her murder dungeon. Murder dungeon or torture chamber? Torture chamber? Murder dungeon? I don't know which one sounds better. Bonehilda lives in the garage because Olive won't let her have a room in the actual house. Also out on the front lawn area, in their driveway, I gave them a hearse because why not? What other car are you going to give to Grim Reaper, right? And again, for the hobbies, I added an axe throwing skill building equipment there for Nervous because his hobby is sports, and he rolled out of the categories. He rolled that his hobby would be axe throwing. So that's the only one that's outside. Everybody else rolled hobbies that are just things that I could use for the inside, for the interior. So you'll see those in the next video. And on the outside of the gate, there's a wreath of garlic. And that's Olive being petty. Because she's trying to say that she doesn't want the vampires coming anywhere near her house, even though she lives in the vampire quarter and all of her neighbors are vampires. So she's just being Olive. And also in the very front, there is an olive tree because of Olive. So yeah. And with the terrain painting, I painted on some terrain and then I took some away because I kind of liked it more to look the bare concrete look of it, just to make things look more dead and decrepit and stuff like that. So there's not a lot of grass. There's dry pine needles everywhere, and there's the dirt, of course, from where the graves have just been dug up or have just been put in. And I had a lot of fun building the Grimm's haunted mansion, and I always have fun building lots. It's my favorite thing to do, so I don't even know why I say I had a lot of fun doing this anymore. But I'm getting a little tired of doing like the dark and spooky stuff, so after the cemetery I might move on to like Sandy Broodie's House of Woohoo. Because I'm thinking it'll be like gloriously pink and purple and neon and loud and flashy. And I'm kind of ready for that. I think that'll be fun. Also, I added more Sims to my hood because why? Because I like to punish myself, I guess. But anyways, I added some of the Sims 1 Sims that never made it into the Sims 2 game, like Claire Charming and the Meshuggahs, to name a few. So it should be fun or terrifying. I don't know which yet. My population is pretty huge when I look at the character files. But some of the character files are deceased Sims. But yeah, there's a lot of Sims. But that's what the super mega uber hood is all about, right? Oh, and this has almost nothing to do with the build, but I got a new computer. And my old computer, it was pretty good. Like, I really loved it. I had no real problems with it. But, it was 8 years old, and that's like great grandpa age in computer years. And, I was having problems with like Photoshop and Illustrator and Premiere Pro because the programs were looking for my graphics card and saying, I don't know her. And I just realized that they stopped making driver updates like 3 years ago for my hardware and everything. So yeah, it was time to get something new. I'm a graphic designer, like that's my profession. So I really needed to like update and upgrade my computer. So I'm glad I did. I mean, I have a laptop that can do a lot of the stuff, but just even for the Sims, it was better for me to just upgrade the computer and get a new one. This video and the next video, the interiors, was all recorded on my old computer, so you probably won't notice any difference yet, but it's really a huge difference. Like when I open the game, I'm seeing textures that I've never seen before. Like I was like, what? I didn't know that this outfit had all this like pattern and everything on it. And texture. But the best part is, before my game, because I had so much CC, it would take about 45 minutes to load, right? So that's just getting to the title screen. It would take 45 minutes. And then it would take about like 10 minutes to load a hood, and then about 30 minutes or so to load a lot, depending how much CC was on that lot. And I just lived with it because I'm not going to get rid of all my CC. And, I just thought everything's fine. Like, this is what happens. This is why, everybody's computer does this. Everybody's Sims games takes this long when you have like, I don't know how many. I probably have like 18 to 20 gigs of CC on my system. But now with a new computer, it only takes 15 minutes to load to the title screen. And like when I go to load the hood, it takes like no time at all. Like maybe 3 minutes at the most. And then 8 minutes to load a lot. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And I love it. I'm so excited. And it was one of those, build your own computers things. So I put together all the specs that I wanted. But then my husband, he likes lights. So he put all these crazy lights in my computer that are not necessary, but I secretly love them because it makes everything really pretty. And you could program the lights to make them different colors and everything like that. And the front part and the side part is clear glass, so you could see the fans light up and the memory sticks and the graphics card and the power supply. And it's unnecessary, but I truly love it and truly appreciate it. And hopefully you can't hear the fans going as I'm recording. The fans aren't that loud at all, but I have like 4 or 5 of them in the computer, and they're pretty close to my microphone. So sorry if you do hear like weird fan background motor noise or something. And I did like a stress test when I first got the computer. Like I opened up The Sims 2, The Sims 1, Premiere Pro, and OBS at the same time, and was doing things on each program. And I had no issues, like none. It's just great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have this computer. Guys just don't understand. And of course I had to do like all the fixes that you have to do to get The Sims 2 to work on Windows 10. And, not have the pink flashing and not have it crash and everything like that. And so far, after doing all that stuff, I haven't had any problems, knock on wood. But now, of course, my computer is telling me that Windows 11 is coming. It's like, haunting me, this message that keeps popping up like, hey, Windows 11's coming. Windows 11's coming. And I'm like, I don't want your Windows 11. Stay where you are. Go away. You're not wanted here. Anyways. So we're almost to the end of the video, you guys. Yay. The screenshots are coming up and you're going to see some more photos of the lovely residents of this home. And I apologize for taking so long getting this video out, but life has been crazy like it has been for everybody. I'm really sorry, but thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for all the lovely comments and suggestions I received on the last videos. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are so cool. I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. And ring the bell so you don't miss any videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.